and welcome to episode 6 of Kitten Knittin. I am Kitten, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Ravelry as @SpatesKitten3000.
And I am Alvia. You can find me at Alvia on Instagram, Twitter, and the other one, Ravelry as well.
We hope that you all are doing well, and we took a little bit of a longer break than usual.
We did.
And we'll get into that later. But we're glad you're all here, and we hope you enjoy hanging out with us and talking about knitting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for coming back to episode 6. I'm really excited that all of you are here with us. So, Kitten, tell me, what have you been up to?
Being sick. A lot of being sick.
Wah-wah.
That's why we're late a week, because we were supposed to record last week and or last weekend and put out an episode last week. But I've been sick for over 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
I finally went to the doctor last week though, and basically I essentially probably had a cold, and I thought it would go away, but it turned into a sinus infection that would not go away. So I'm on medicine now, and I am feeling better. But
and she's sucking on cough drops today.
Yeah, I do have a cough drop, so because I didn't want to hack during the filming. So, but yeah, pretty much I've just been sick for the last 2 weeks. You know, it just it felt like a cold. And so I thought it would just get better, but then it never did.
She just progressively kept getting worse.
Yeah. And so now I'm on medication and I feel better, but I didn't have a lot of energy for, a couple weeks and didn't really feel like doing much.
Sure.
Had to bail out on a couple of fun plans I had.
Aww.
But like I said, I did, I'm feeling better now, so I'm glad to, be filming and be back to almost normal.
Yeah.
So, other than that, luckily I did have the energy to still knit and stuff. I couldn't be up. I didn't want to go anywhere or do anything because I would get really tired. Mm-hmm. And I had a sore throat. There was a point where I lost my voice. And, it was actually the weekend we were going to record, I lost my voice. But I could still knit, so I would sit and knit. I just didn't have a lot of energy to do anything.
Yeah.
So
she actually ended up, if you guys remember, we were talking about having a dye day and a sew day. Mm-hmm. So she actually, and that was last weekend that we had that scheduled for. So she actually ended up missing out on our dye and sew day. So that was kind of a bummer for her. I went ahead and went forward with that, with my mother-in-law. So, because the three of us were going to do that all together. So I went ahead and did that. So I got some sewing done.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. You know, it was kind of funny though, because we had been looking forward to it. And even on our dyeing day, we were just kind of going, man, ready for sew day, just so excited.
Because dye day was going to be a Saturday, and then sew day was going to be Sunday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So sew day comes, and we wake up, and we start sewing, and neither of our hearts were in it that day. I think it was because you weren't there.
I jinxed it.
You jinxed it.
I know. I felt so bad because I was texting and asking how it was going. And she was just like, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. I don't really have the energy or the will to do this right now, which was just so bunk because the day before I was raring to go.
Well, and I was sure. I was like, I'm going to be feeling... I just kept thinking that I was going to be feeling better. Yeah. Because I still at this point just thought it was a cold that I had to get over. And I was like, okay, well, I bailed on dye day, but I'm going to rest and I'll feel good enough to go for sewing. I even went to the fabric store to get more fabric for some of the stuff I knew I wanted to sew. And in the morning, I still could barely talk. And I was just like, I can't do it. So it sucked.
It is what it is. And the sewing machines are all set up, so we still have the space to do both dyeing and sewing, so we can do it whenever we want to. It's just fine. So, so I talked about doing sewing, and I obviously did some dyeing, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. I dyed some roving, and I am going to be spinning tomorrow.
Which I was so excited to see that when you posted that picture, because I didn't know that you were going to dye any roving. So I was pretty excited for that.
I honestly didn't know I was going to dye roving either. It just kind of happened. So, and I'll go ahead and show this to you guys. I don't know if you can see it very well, but...
looks like cotton candy.
It does look like cotton candy. So it's like blue into green into just a little bit of yellow. I'll talk more about... I actually did this in the slow cooker. Because we didn't have our setup quite figured out at that point. Again, because it was our first dye day. So the setup was new. We were trying to figure everything out. So I used the slow cooker on this guy. And I would probably do it again, but do it a little bit differently. I would use different dye. I would use more citric acid.
Now, which method did you prefer? The slow cooker method or the... Or did you just do the slow cooker method for all of it?
So at that point in time, I had just done the slow cooker method. That weekend, I was just using the slow cooker.
Okay, so that's how you did all of it.
And my mother-in-law was using the kettle.
Okay.
So that's how...
Which is how we did it when we dyed with her mother-in-law's friend. We used hot. Oh, you did it different.
No, when I'm saying kettle, I'm saying like a boiler pot on a stovetop.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like the hot water
kettle. Yeah. No, I knew exactly where you were going with that. So we did it a little bit different than we had done it our previous dye day. You know, it's been so much fun playing around with different ways of dyeing, different dyes, different ratios of citric acid. You know, I'm learning a lot as I'm going
Which
through
you learned
these
makes a big difference. That citric acid sounds like it's key.
Yeah, very key. And apparently I wasn't using enough at one point in time. So I'll talk about that a little bit later in Acquisitions. But yeah, no, a lot of learning, a lot of crafting in the last few weeks. So, you know, I missed you, but I had fun.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. I did like seeing all the pictures from you and Judith. So that was fun. Yeah.
So we always post those pictures on Instagram whenever she does stuff, sews stuff, dye stuff, same here. So again, follow us on Instagram and you can take a look at some of those because we don't always talk about everything that we do here on the show. So
yep.
So let's just, knit along. We've got a sock knit along going on right now, you guys. So we are going to decide, we are not moving as fast on our socks as we had hoped we would be moving.
I don't even have one sock done yet.
I don't either. So we are going to decide, we typically record every 2 weeks, but because of our little off schedule, we want to record again at DFW Fiberfest and get back on schedule, which is in 3 weeks. So rather than recording here in 2 weeks and getting off schedule, we're just going to wait and do it in 3 weeks again, and then we'll get back on schedule after DFW Fiberfest. So we are recording at DFW Fiberfest. I have been in contact with Leon Alexander Yarns. Has been so sweet to say that we could do an interview with them as well. So I'm so excited about that. You guys can look forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
They're an indie dyer. So we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about that. But we will make a decision about our sock cowl by that point, because we said we were going to do it until that we said we'd do it through the month with the intention of doing our giveaway, our prize support, prize support. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm such a nerd. With the intention of giving away our prizes at that point during that recording. So, which by the way, I did do some dyeing again. Whoever wins that will win a skein of fingering sock yarn. I think it's 467 yards of Cloudborne that I have hand dyed myself. I think I'm going to do a little bit of change on this guy, but for the most part, it's going to look the way it does now, just probably a little bit more speckling on it.
Right.
So again, one of those things that I've been playing and I'm learning as I go. So I'm going to make some changes to this guy.
And I will make a project bag that will also be will go with it, and I will probably try to make it coordinate with
how exciting!
Yeah,
I'm excited.
So I'll wait for the final product of that, and then find the fabric for that.
That would be so awesome.
So should we show our socks and where we are?
Well, let's talk real quick. Do you have any finished objects?
Oh, I do.
Yes,
I do have a finished object. I finished, because like I said, I couldn't do much when I was sick, but I was able to knit a little bit here and there. And I finished my 3-color cashmere cowl by Locatelli.
You guys, that is so gorgeous.
So, it was so fun. I loved knitting this. I loved it.
Why did you enjoy it so much?
I really liked how each section you did it differently.
There's something, some new characteristic out there.
You just do everything different. And I loved switching out the colors. I was really excited to get to the green when I finally got to the green. But yeah, that's what I liked about it, was just everything was different. I made it a little shorter. It called for, the only changes I made were, it called for another stripe of each one of these colors.
So it's a very long cowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it, goes like that.
Right.
I'm not going to put it on because I'll mess up my hair. But it called for, another stripe of each of these, and so I didn't do that. And then the stripes, I think it called for one more repeat of each, but I didn't do that. I kind of just did it until I didn't want to, do that section anymore. I did the whole section of green, though, because I liked the green.
I really like the way you pick colors. I've decided you have a great eye for color combinations.
Well, thank you. I can't take too much credit for this because the sample is actually in a similar color pattern to what I chose for this.
I see you do it in other things too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I was talking to Gal earlier, and I was like, I feel like I cannot pick colors to dye yarn. If it's already dyed, I can put the colors together. But to make my own, colors in yarn, I'm not good at. She's good at, though.
Which is weird because I feel like I like to buy yarn that appeals to me. They might not necessarily go together conventionally, but I like the way they look together regardless.
Well, that's what matters.
But I feel like it's a very unconventional way of doing things. So I feel like if you were to sit with a color wheel, which we have several, by the way, of color wheels. I feel like if you were to sit with a color wheel and learn how to work with a color wheel, you would be able to pair those
them better
and dye, and I think you would really enjoy dyeing.
I probably would.
I think I'm just projecting onto you. Please dye. Please
you really
dye.
need to dye.
You really must do this thing that I enjoy so much.
No, I had fun when we dyed. I just didn't think I made the best color choices, but
we were learning too.
Yeah, it's a learning.
Oh, absolutely.
process.
And it is not an inexpensive learning process.
Right.
So it's really something that, for me, I want to learn to dye because I love hand-dyed yarn, but I can't always afford hand-dyed yarn.
Right.
So it's more of the upfront cost, knowing that I'm going to have some upfront cost to play and learn first. And then I'm going to be able to create, which I will talk about later, colorways that I want to utilize in my projects. So I'm doing it. Overall, I'm hoping it will be cost effective to dye my own yarn. But there's a learning curve and a cost to learning that.
I think once you get the hang of how to create what you have envisioned, whether it be the color you've envisioned or the variegation or the speckled, it will be more cost effective.
Yeah.
But you have to have something to dye to learn how to get those results that you're looking for.
You have to have the materials to be able to do it. Yeah. So, there's a lot of things to consider, and
I can understand why indie hand-dyed yarn is, it's worth the price that it is, because it takes so much technique and time.
Yeah. So much time.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is my only finished object, and I love it, and it was really, really fun.
I do love that. I may have to make myself one
one
of these days.
It was just, I don't know. I was just like, it made me smile when I was working on it. And I like to like look at all the different, I don't know if you can really see all the different textures here, but there's like the little lace section. And there's this little texture here that was just created with where you placed your purl stitches. And yeah, it was just fun. It was just a fun little knit.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's
so
great.
That was my only finished object, though, but I was really happy that I got this done, and it is getting warmer here, which is kind of a bummer.
We had an 80-degree day the other day.
Which I love, but you can't really wear, like, a cowl when it's 80. But,
this one's... Not out of wool.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I really enjoyed knitting this. So that's my only FO. You have any FOs?
I have no FOs.
Yeah.
I have no
Well,
FOs.
you're working... Tell us what you're working on.
So...
That's taking up all your time.
So I have been working primarily on the What the Fade shawl by Andrea Mowry, which I know I've shown you before. But you guys,
She's made a lot of progress.
Where did it go?
You had it out because you were, showing me stuff.
Yep. So... I was a good girl and actually marked where I was last time with my progress keeper, which is a little puppy dog with a little jewel in the middle of it. I just love it. I don't know if you can see it, but
we love puppies.
We love puppies. We love animals. I work for a veterinary clinic, so we love animals. So that's where I was, and I've gotten all the way to literally this point.
So pretty.
Literally this point. But you guys, I'm going to have to rip back the garter section. We finally got into Garter Town on this, and I'm going to have to rip it back. I was kind of noticing here on the ends, you know, this is supposed to be your straight I-cord edging, but it was starting to bow. And I was taking a look at the pictures that are provided in the pattern, and it seemed like her stitching was closer together. I naturally knit very loose, and I had gauged this guy and got gauge, which is why I went ahead and bought the needles and everything like that, because I got gauge. But apparently I've really loosened up my knitting even more working on this guy. And instead of the 26 stitches for 4 inches, I measured it out this morning, and I'm doing 19, actually about 18 and a half more than in 4 inches. So quite a bit of difference. So I'm just gonna bite the bullet, figure out how to put myself a
lifeline.
Thank you. I love that she can read my mind. But put a lifeline in and rip it back. You know, I'm already to the fade section, which there again, because I use different shades of green, I knew it wouldn't really show very well, and it's not showing very, very well. But, you know, I'm just going to rip it back and make it do what it needs to do, because that ain't happening.
That's not acceptable.
Not acceptable. Not with all this work that I'm putting into it. So
well, and I had asked her if she could block it to a straight edge so she wouldn't have to go back, and she had explained that you needed to steam block it and not wet block it, because then it would expand too much. The brioche section would get too large if you wet blocked it. Yeah. So
that's what was explained in the notes on the pattern. So we're just going to bite the bullet and rip it out. Rip it out. Rip it.
So are you going to do it right away, or are you going to set it aside and work on something else?
No, I'm going to do it right away. I just wanted to talk about it.
I get so frustrated that when that stuff happens that I have to set it aside. Like my Wonder Woman shawl.
Well, this has been such a joy to work on.
You've enjoyed it,
even though I'm going to have to rip it out, I still want to work on it. I still just love it.
That's good. That's great.
I still just love it, and I'm wanting to see the final product. I have to keep reminding myself, I know we've talked about it before, enjoying the moment. I'm having to remind myself to enjoy the moment and not just want to be done with it. I am wanting to be done with it because I want to see what it'll look like. And Andrea Mowry has some new patterns out that I really want to work on.
I was at the doctor's office in the room.
She was
at the doctor's office on the table. And I was like, did you see Andrea Mowry's new patterns? They're so beautiful.
Did you see Rose? I love it.
I was like, did you see the rose cardigan? It's so beautiful.
Yes. I kind of figured you were. I knew exactly what was going on.
Oh yeah, I was in the doctor's
I knew
room.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I got a kick. I got a giggle out of that. But yeah, so rip out and stay in the moment. And
I want you to be done with this when we go to the cabin in the end of April, so that you can like wear it while we're knitting at the cabin.
Can you imagine taking pictures out in the woods in it?
We're going to
a
cabin at the end of April. We're spending a weekend with our husbands there, and I want her to be done with this so that she can like wrap herself up when we're at the cabin and we can be knitting and stuff.
And I was really working hard on it because I wanted it to be done for Fiberfest.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that was really what I was hoping for. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm going to have to rip it out, it took me, you guys, because this is so long. And I'm not the world's fastest knitter by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not horribly slow, but I'm not fast.
What'd you say? It was like 300 and something stitches though?
By the time you get to the end of this fade, it's 300 and something stitches, and I'm getting pretty close to the end of that fade. But I don't remember where I was going with this.
You wanted to get it done by
5 days of work.
Yeah.
The garter section was basically 5 days of work for me. So I'm ripping back 5 days, and I'm going to have to do 5 days over again. Mm-hmm. So, and I've got to work, this week and all that jazz. So I don't know that it's going to happen because I've got a busy week planned. Mm-hmm. We'll see if it happens or not. So because I have been so focused and so enjoying my What the Fade shawl, my socks have been a bit neglected. When I do sit down and knit my socks, I actually enjoy it. So it's not that I'm not enjoying it. And it started out being a bit of a slog
it's
for me.
It's just a lot of stockinette.
It's a lot of stockinette. So it started off being a bit of a slog for me. But once I found my rhythm with it, because I am on size 0 needles, I actually started off double point. Mm-hmm. And
she sent me a text and she's like, I don't know how you can enjoy working on DPNs because there's too many needles and they get in the way.
They just get in the way. They totally get in the way. And I feel like I knit, so I'm doing Magic Loop now. And I feel like I knit faster on Magic Loop. Mm-hmm. Because I don't have all of those joins that I'm having to do. I just have one place where I have to worry about laddering, or two places I have to worry about laddering instead of, at the end of each needle. So for me, Magic Loop is more comfortable. Mm-hmm. I don't know about, 2 needles at a time or anything because I've never tried to do that, and that wasn't available to me at this point because I just used what I had.
And honestly, I don't know what I would prefer either because I've only ever done DPNs. Anytime I've knit in the round, if I don't use circular needles, I've done DPNs.
I think you would love Magic Loop.
Yeah.
I do think you would, but I know you enjoy DPNs too. So
once I started on them, I don't mind them.
Yeah. So, and this is the matching, this is the kitty cat that matches with the puppy dog. But I've gotten through the heel flap. I've actually gotten through the turning of the heel. So now I've got to go through and pick up stitches
to join again
on my holder. So,
well, you've gotten farther than I have because I am just a few rows short of getting to the heel.
Oh, you're about to pull off.
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
No, let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
So this is mine that I have here. Like I said, I'm a few rows probably short of getting to the heel. I don't know if I talked about this last time or not, but I ended up purchasing the Craftsy class, the same one that gal purchased.
I don't think you did talk about that.
Okay, because I have a different class.
Yes.
And, which is like the basics of sock knitting or something. And I bought it around Christmas time because it was like on sale for $9.99, I think. And I was like, yeah, I know I'm going to be knitting socks, so I'll go ahead and buy it. But then I ended up going ahead and buying the same class, which is my first pair of socks. I think that's what it's called. Yeah,
it's like my first socks, which by the way, I forgot to say earlier, this is the Simply Splendid sock pattern by Lucy Neatby.
Yeah, and she's the one that does the Craftsy class.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting that class. And And I thought, I just thought it would be a better class because it really does go step by step for this pattern. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and got it. And I also thought it would be good for us to have the same class in case we needed help from one another, or we could watch it together or anything like that. So I actually haven't gotten to the point where I needed the class yet. I have watched the sections up until you get to the heel, mm-hmm. but it's just a cuff and stockinette. So and it teaches you like how to cast on to DPNs and stuff like that, which I already knew how to do. So,
and I really feel like
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I really feel like we have enough knitting under our belt that if we wanted to use just the pattern, we'd be okay.
Yeah.
It's been nice to have the class just as a crutch, I feel like. For me, I've been using it as a crutch, but I haven't really needed it. I'm waiting. I got through the heel flap. I watched it, not really paying attention mm-hmm. through the heel flap because I've done short rows before. It was super simple to follow the pattern. But now that we're getting to the joining, I've never really done that part before. So I'm kind of waiting to watch the video. But there again, I think I could figure it out if I needed to.
Yeah. First I was going to say the parts that I have watched as far as casting on to DPNs and using DPNs, I thought it made it more confusing.
I agree.
Than if I didn't know how to use DPNs, I don't know. I just thought the way she explained it was very confusing. I didn't think it was easier.
Well, I think it's truly a beginner class for somebody who's never...
Maybe.
I think having never used DPNs before, maybe it would have been beneficial.
Yeah.
It definitely was beneficial for me in terms of... I probably cast on too tightly. Mm-hmm. And that gave me a good way to cast on without casting on too tightly. Mm-hmm.
She does explain that pretty well. How to make it, because she explains, or she recommends you use the long tail cast on, which is my default cast on unless it specifies a different one. But she talks about how to make sure that it's stretchy so that it can go around your foot. Mm-hmm. And that made perfect sense about how to, make sure that it has enough stretch for you, that it's not too tight. Mm-hmm. But like her whole part about like separating all the stitches onto your separate needles and stuff, I was like, that sounds crazy. That is not how I do it at all.
See, that made sense.
It did, because I was like, that's not how I do it at all, and that sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can totally see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But for me, because I've only ever worked with DPNs at the end of a hat.
Yeah.
Not casting on with DPNs.
Yeah.
It made sense that's not true. I've tried to cast on with DPNs before and it was a big mess. So for me, it made sense.
Well, I was wondering if it made more sense because you've done Magic Loop and the way she has you do it is you just do it on 2 DPNs at first. Mm-hmm. Which is what you're essentially doing when you're doing Magic Loop, is you're just dividing the stitches on 2.
Into 2.
Instead of 4 or 3, whatever you prefer.
So she talks about making a triangle, which to me made sense because it seemed more structurally sound.
Now, on this, I do have 4, but generally I only use 3.
Oh, really?
Yes. I did use 4 this time only because I wanted to do what the class recommended because I thought it might be easier if I used the same number of needles as she was. Generally, I only use 3 needles, though, when I do DPNs.
Well, you'll have to let us know what you think at the end of the class if you feel like it was beneficial or not.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, so, again, I'm not to the point where I need help yet, but I think I have about a 1/2 inch left before I have to start on the heel. And that's where I'll probably refer back to the class.
Heel is super simple. You'll fly through it. I did it in one evening.
Yeah.
So.
But I had bought this yarn because I think I spoke last time about how I didn't know what yarn I was going to use. And that if I wasn't happy with the yarn, the Tricked Out You, that I had. If I wasn't happy with it, I was going to go ahead and purchase a yarn, which is what I ended up doing. I did knit a little swatch, and I actually knitted a swatch and then start and cast on a sock with the tricked out U, and it wasn't inspiring me. And it's not the yarn's fault, because I love the yarn, and I'll talk about that a little more later. But it just wasn't inspiring me for a sock. I didn't want to pick it up and knit on it. And so I got new yarn, and I already had this navy blue from leftover from another project, from some mitts that I did. And I only had enough probably to do a cuff on each sock. So I was like, well, it'll just add a little something extra. So, and it matched. So the navy blue is just some MadelineTosh that I had left over. And then this is just Knit Picks.
Oh, by the way, the socks that I was working on, that I am working on, that is that is not Visceral. That is Wrath by Lamstrings Yarn. I have the Visceral to match with Lamstrings Yarn, or in Lamstrings Yarn, but I had said I was going to use it for the heel, but when I got to the heel, because the heel needs to be more sturdy, I didn't really feel comfortable or confident yet enough to make the change in the color right there at the heel. So I am still planning on using that Visceral for the toe, is my hope.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same thing. I felt like I could easily do a cuff and then change over to a different yarn, and I wasn't. And I knew I only had enough yarn to do one spot or another. I couldn't do like a heel and a toe or a cuff and a toe. Yeah. And I was like, well, this is easy. I know I can switch from the cuff to
That was a great idea to do it there. I should have thought to do that.
Oh, and this is Knit Picks. I think it's called, it's the Hawthorne fingering in Kerns or Kerns. I can't remember. I didn't write it down, but I'll put it in show notes. And it's pretty. Okay, I love the color. It's got this purpley gray, which I love, and then the navy, and this actually brings out a lot of blue. It is not the softest, though. It's really not.
It's really not.
I think it will wear well. Like, if you wanted to walk around your house barefoot, I think that it wouldn't wear down.
I wonder if you blocked it, if that would make it different.
If it would
soften it.
Because I wasn't going to block socks. I didn't really see the point. But I might, because I kind of wondered the same thing. If it would make it a little softer. And I think it's, I want to say it's 75% merino, and then 25% it's like poly something or other.
Polyamide.
Which is similar to nylon. But it doesn't feel like other nylon and merino, because like this is merino and nylon, and it's so super soft. Yeah. It's really, really soft. This does not feel soft. Now this has quite a bit of twist to it. It's very twisty. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or not, because you can see the twist in it. Yeah. See, it's very twisty.
Yeah, it's just not very soft.
So it's pretty. It's just not soft. It is gorgeous. So we'll see. I think it will be fine just for around the house, like pair of socks. I don't think it's not scratchy. It's not like, I don't think it would make me itch. No. It's just not like putting on a soft pair of socks or anything. So we'll see. Yeah. But yeah. That's that. But I don't think I'm going to have a full pair done, because we're already over halfway through the month, and I don't even have a full one done yet.
And say I'm really wanting to focus on that with the fade.
Well, and I was so close to getting this cowl done that I was kind of like, and I wanted to get done with it. I was hoping to get done with it by the time we were going to record last week. Oh. So because I was very, very close. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of just started concentrating on that, because I wanted to have it done, because I've had this. I would have had this, not blocked, but I would have had it knit by last week. So, yeah. But yeah, I guess that kind of goes into what we've been working on, because I have another whip besides the socks.
Your half object?
I have a half object.
She has a hoe.
Yeah.
She got a hoe.
I just in time for our 80-degree spring weather, I have these mitts. They are what are they called? Honey something. Raw Honey by Alicia Plummer. And I love them. I wish I would have knit them at the beginning of winter because they're out of worsted, so they're very soft, or they're very like heavier, so they're very warm. And then the pattern is actually kind of a chevron pattern.
It's like a chevron knotted pattern almost.
And so it makes it very squishy and thicker than a different mitt. So I finished this one Friday night. And I haven't blocked it or anything, and I actually don't think I am going to block it.
I don't think you need to.
I don't think I need to either. But yeah, I really like it. And maybe we probably still will have a couple of cold days where I can wear them. Like if I go out in the morning, because I think next week in the mornings it's supposed to be like in the upper 30s.
So the knitter in me is really not happy about not having a lot of cold time left to work and wear on cold weather knitting.
Right.
But the outdoor loving, which that's a whole other story.
I just want to wear tank tops and sandals. Yeah,
the outdoor loving part of me had her back patio together yesterday, was out on it, had all the cushions out, and
we were hoping to eat out there tonight, but it rained.
It did rain, and it's like 60 degrees now.
It's a little cooler than it's
so I'm like ready for that spring well, not the tornadoes that come with spring weather, but I am ready for that spring weather that is just ready to be outdoors.
Well, see, that's the whole thing we were talking about before, where we need to
be better at
work on our big cardigans and things like that, so they'll be all ready for fall when I get here.
I know. So on that note, do you have any other whips?
No.
Okay. So
I have like on this, I only have like, my nephews came over. I finished this one Friday night, and then my nephews, I have twin nephews that are 12 that came over and spent the night on Saturday, which was last night. I love those
needles.
Thanks. They're really cheap ones I got like at Hobby Lobby. They're really light, like plastic. They're actually pretty nice to
Can you see these guys? Because they're like
they're swirly.
Look at that. That is so much fun.
They're actually kind of nice to knit with because they're very light. Yeah. Like feel that. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they were very, very cheap at like Hobby Lobby or something. And you use like a smaller size for the cuff, and then I have for the rest of it I use these wooden ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, my nephews came over and spent the night with us last night, and they're 12, and so we were hanging out with them watching Dragon Ball and stuff like that. So I didn't get a lot of time to knit, but I did get, I can't get these untangled. I did get that much done of the cuff in the dark.
Nonetheless.
Because they wanted the new, this is tangent, but they wanted to watch the new Dragon Ball Super that came out yesterday. And so we, and me and my husband like Dragon Ball also. So we put it on, and they were very, very excited. And I was like, oh, I'll knit and watch Dragon Ball. But then they wanted the lights out. Because it's, it's cozy and like, the big TV and everything.
You're so nice. This is why you make good auntie. I would have been like, nope, auntie wants to knit.
I was
lights
like,
stay on.
Well, I'm like, anything you want. And so we turned out all the lights. And so I was like, well, it's just 1 by 1 rib. I can do that in the dark.
Oh gosh.
So that's what I ended up doing by the light of Dragon Ball Super. So that's it for me for whips. So
I forgot how I was segueing into this, so I'm just going to dive right into it. So Aquisitions. No, Q.
Oh yeah, Q.
Do Q first.
Yeah.
So you were talking about knitting our shawls for the fall, right? Mm-hmm. So as we said earlier, Andrea Mowry came out with, I think it was 4 new designs while at Edinburgh Fiber Fest this last week. And they're beautiful. They're so gorgeous, as all of her stuff is. But there were 3 out of the 4 that I just absolutely fell in love with them.
Yeah, at the doctor's office when we were texting, she was like, I bought these 3.
I was at work. She was she was at the doctor's office. We were talking back and forth about yarning. So let me kind of go over here. So in my queue, the next thing that I want to work on, in spite of the fact that I know it's going to be spring and I should be working on spring stuff, the next thing I want to work on is the Baubles shawl by Andrea Mowry. And as I talked about earlier, wanting to dye up the colorways that I want to utilize. So you guys have seen the picture by this point somewhere on the screen.
Somewhere over here, probably.
I never know where it ends up by the end of it, but so I dyed up some colorways that I wanted to use for it. It was really cool because, again, these have like 467 yards, I think, in a skein of this. So what I ended up doing, I dyed up 2 of these guys, which there is a yellow undertone, a yellow base to it, and then a blueberry overtone to it. Again, it's a different kind of dye. I forget what kind of dyeing technique this was called. But I am doing this throughout the entirety of the body. And then I broke up another skein because you only need like 225 yards of one color and 167 yards of another color. I'm just throwing those numbers. I know it's 200 something and 100 something. But not a whole skein. And I didn't want to have to purchase 2 skeins of different colors and end up with over half of it left over. So I divided up a single skein and I dyed them different colors. This one is still kind of drying, so I didn't want to skein it
I really love the depth that you got.
So that's navy.
It's really
that
it's
is navy. Well, that is what the colorway was called that I used.
It's gorgeous.
So this one obviously is a couple of different colors, and then this one is going to pair up in one of the brioche sections, and then this is going to pair up in another of the brioche sections, and then this will be in the middle by itself in a lace section. So I am super excited to see how this knits up. Obviously I'm excited to start. That's why I was kind of going, I'm kind of ready to finish this first, Andrea Mowry.
Cough drop.
Oh yeah.
I had to reach for my cough drop. Sorry.
But that's kind of why I'm excited to finish the current What the Fade shawl, because I've already dyed the stuff and I'm like ready.
Are you going to cast on before you're done with the fade?
No.
You're not?
No. No, I'm going to be.
I don't think I could wait. I think I would have them going at the same time.
I think for me, just the fact that I've got the yarn ready, like I've dyed the yarn, I have it ready to go. That is like my cast on. That is enough for right now.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in your queue?
I do.
Yeah.
I'll talk first about, because I had so much fun with this. She also has a shawl version, which is
Locatelli.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 3-color cashmere shawl. So I'm going to do the 3-color cashmere shawl. And I was talking about the Tricked Out You earlier, which I've talked about many times because I've loved the yarn, but I just haven't found the right project for it. And I'm going to use the Tricked Out You as the lighter gray section. So, that'll be in place of this light dove gray. And then, I guess I should just hold this, because it's the same, it's just a shawl version, and then it has a picot edging.
Oh.
And then for the darker gray, I'm going to use navy blue, which I've ordered. I haven't gotten yet. I'm just going to use the same as this. It's just the Knit Pick Stroll fingering. And then the green section here will be hot pink.
Oh, very nice.
So, yeah, I'm going to do that.
I can't wait to see it.
Thought about, because you start with this section here, which is the Tricked Out You, which I already have. So I thought about just going ahead and casting on. The rest of the yarn will be here next week. But So that's in my queue. I haven't cast it on yet, but I am doing that. And then in my queue, which we can also segue into acquisitions, since this is an acquisition, is the Second Avenue Shawl by Amy Miller. And I saw this shawl on a podcast that is new to me. It's called By the Lakeside. And I kind of watched a lot of her episodes one evening. And she talked about this Second Avenue shawl, and I loved it. And so I had, so that's in my queue. And I had this yarn in my Etsy cart. Now, it's a MadelineTosh yarn, but I had seen it on Etsy from a seller on Etsy, and I loved it. And it's called Soot. And it has so many different colors in here.
It's so pretty.
And I loved it, but I didn't really know what I would make because it is basically white. So I didn't really know what I would use it for. But then when I saw the Second Avenue shawl, the project picture actually has, you use, I think, 5 different yarns. And the picture that accompanied the page on Ravelry had a big section of white that had like speckles in it. And this was the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, that Soot yarn would be perfect. So I went ahead and got it. And then I'm going to take inspiration from the other mini colors in this yarn for the other colors for the shawl or the wrap. It's more of a wrap. It's pretty large. And I'm hopefully going to buy the rest of the colors at DFW Fiber Fest. That's going to be my goal, is to find the colors to go with this. I know for sure I want a mustardy yellow. I love mustardy yellow, and there is a bit of yellow in this.
But I have found a love for mustard yellow of late.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I don't know why, because yellow looks so horrible on me generally.
Yeah, I don't really like yellow either, but if it's that mustardy yellow, I'm really drawn to it.
It's just yellow, because, I did that.
You just found a love for yellow?
I just found a love for yellow all of a sudden. I don't know if it's a change in hair color. It looks a little bit better with my color tone.
Yeah, because yellow with your purple hair wouldn't be...
Yellow with my skin tone, period, typically doesn't work well. But with the incorporation of the blue, I think it will be fine. We'll see how long the blue lasts.
Well, that's true.
We'll see how long the blue lasts. So, but yeah, for right now, I'm just like, yellow. All the yellow. I want everything yellow. Because when you were showing me the honeycomb... your mitts.
Oh yeah, the honeydew or
honey. Yeah.
What are they called? I don't remember. I just said it.
I know.
don't even remember.
It's okay.
They're the raw honey.
Raw honey. So when you said that, I was like, yes, mustard yellow. I want those in mustard yellow.
The project picture for these on Ravelry is in mustard yellow.
Yeah. And you said it's a worsted weight?
Yeah.
I think this is a bulky.
Just I'll have to look later. Dye yourself up some.
I know. I don't have any more worsted weight though. So,
but anyway, so this is an acquisition as well as part of my queue. So I think what I want to do, I think I need 4 other colors. So I'm going to do mustard yellow, and then I think I want either a teal, either a teal or a blue gray, and then a purple, and then I think I want a hot pink. I don't know, I'm really liking pink lately too. And it's kind of the we would have posted a picture of it, but it's kind of similar to the 3-color cashmere, where you do sections that are different. From each section is different, so you'll have stripes and then you'll have lace work and stuff like that. I think that's a thing that I really like. It's just different textures and different colors and stuff like that.
So what did you think? I'm fixated right now. I'm sorry. What did you think about the bauble? The bauble shawl.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did like it. I'm nervous about brioche though.
Yeah.
I think I would, I think I could learn how to do it, and obviously you've already done some brioche, so you could, give me pointers if I got stuck. But I think the thing is, I really like the clean cutoffs of the different stuff like this has. Where, like the things like What the Fade and the Baubles,
kind of gradient.
Yeah, they're gradient, and I really like the sharp, distinct.
Gotcha.
Changes.
Gotcha.
So
okay. I can see.
But
that.
I definitely want to do like it's not the What the Fade, it's the other fade shawl that she has. The
Find Your Fade.
Find Your Fade. Yeah, I think if I do one, it'll be that one. And I don't remember why I liked that one more. I don't really remember.
It's asymmetrical. It doesn't have any brioche.
Oh, really? Maybe that's why. Maybe it was just because it was a fade. I don't know. But I think if I do a brioche, I want to do the Chances wrap.
Oh, I want to do that one too at some point.
And that's just because I saw the one on Strings and More. Because I really, really liked the one that Shanna from Lamb Strings did. I liked her colors.
So I'm thinking you need to take my place in the brioche class.
You think?
I think so.
You don't think you'll need the brioche? She signed up for a brioche class at Fiberfest. And I was going to do it too, but by the time I got around to doing it, it was full. So I couldn't do it. But she had signed up before.
So in looking at the description of the class, it sounds like it's truly for people who have not brioched before. And I'm sure I could get some fundamentals ironed out in it, but I think you would get more out of the class
out of it since I haven't done it. That might be.
So
we'll see.
I think I want you to take my place.
Well, we'll see.
We'll talk about it.
Anyway, and then the only other acquisition I have is this little lotion stick that looks like a tiny deodorant. It's so cute. Smell
it again.
I saw this on the Strings and More. That Shanna from Lamb Strings Yarn went to. I think she got hers at Vogue Knitting Live. I think. Is that right?
It was either that or it was. I think it was Vogue. I think it was Vogue Knitting. Yep,
anyway, it's by Tuft Woolens. And she got a lotion stick, and they also make like a fiber wash soap, which I did not purchase, but...
Can I try some?
Yeah. This has, you need more than that, though. You need like a lot. Yeah. Put it on there. But, it's supposed to be... It has lanolin in it, and it's supposed to mimic the oils that are already found in your hands, and it doesn't affect your yarn. So the oils and things like that, when you can put it on and it won't affect the fiber.
Smells good.
And I got the Russian flower scent, and mainly I got it because it had lavender, which we both love lavender. And it has neroli, which I really like. And then the only other thing I can think of, it had more, but that was the ylang. Yeah. But I got that scent, and I really like it. It's, it's not, I don't know. It's like almost you could just put it across your whole hand and you don't even have to rub it in almost.
Yeah, it really feels that way.
But I was so excited, when I heard her talk about it, when I heard Shanna talk about it, I was like, ooh, I want that.
Yeah.
Because I like lotion anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I want that. And so I finally ordered one. This is just a quick story. So I order a lot of stuff online. Like I shop online a lot. And I was tracking this. I got notification that it was shipped. And so I was tracking it. And I was supposed to get like one other thing that day too. And so I had been tracking it all day, and then I checked the tracking because my mail comes late, and it was like, oh, it's delivered like 20 minutes ago. So I go to the mailbox, and the neighborhood I live in, your mailboxes aren't at your driveway. It's like a...
community mailbox?
Yeah. It's like, for that street, everybody's mailbox is on this like corner. So I went in and undid the mailbox, and it wasn't in there. And I was like, oh. it said it was delivered. It wasn't in there. And this is not the first time it's happened. Like, I've had other things that said they were delivered and they weren't there. And it's not like, again, it's a lockbox, so it's not like somebody can just come and open your mailbox and take it out, you know? And my mail always shows up, like, sometimes a day or two later when it's happened before, but I really, really was looking forward to this lotion. So I was so mad, so I called the, customer service for the postal service. And I was going to be on hold for, 45 or 50 minutes. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just put it on speaker and, go about my business. Well, I was expecting another package that day, and it said it wasn't delivered at all. It was said it was still out for delivery. And I was like, well, that's weird, because that one was supposed to be delivered too.
Yeah.
So I just checked the tracking again, and it was like, oh, it was delivered 5 minutes ago. I was like, wait. So I had one package that was delivered 30 minutes ago, and then one that was
just now.
5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes ago. So I walked back down the street to my mailbox. And that other package is there, but this lotion is still not there. I was like, okay, obviously it was delivered somewhere else. There is a street in our neighborhood that's similar to the name of our street. So I was like, maybe they delivered it to that house. So I was like, I'm going to call the local post office. So I called the local post office and gave him the tracking number and everything. And he put me on hold. And then he was like, okay, he's on his way back to give you the package. So 3 minutes later, the mailman comes, pulls up in my driveway, and hands me the package with this lotion. So the point of this story is I have never called the post office about any package that I didn't receive, except for this lotion. That's how bad I wanted this lotion.
Crisis averted.
Yes. Because I have not received packages previously, but this lotion was the last straw because I wanted it so bad. I was like, I'm not going to wait 2 days to see if it actually shows up. I am calling the post office to get my lotion. And I got my lotion, and I was very happy because it smells really good. And so now I kind of want one for every project bag I have.
Oh, yeah.
And then I also want the wash that they have, because it looks like
a wash.
Well, it looks like a bar of soap,
mm-hmm.
but it's for your knits. And so basically you do it like a bar of soap, like you bubble it up with mm-hmm. the water, and then you put it in the tub that you're using, mm-hmm. and then you can put it in there, and they have all the same scents as the lotion.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I'll have to look into that.
So yeah. Those are my 2 acquisitions, and I did buy my sock yarn too, which I already discussed, but I did buy this specifically for the socks too.
So my acquisitions are a little bit different this week, because I made a lot of them. So sewing day, I made this. I'm going to see if I can do this without everything falling out. I made an interchangeable needle case,
which I'm so impressed with. I didn't know she made this. Oh no.
Away they went. But so I've got my interchangeable needle set over here. One of my interchangeable needle sets. I've got my shorties down here. I've got a couple of fixed needles up here. My cables over here. Some of my bigger needles, which just fell out, are now down on the floor, but they were in there as well. And it's got this nice little zipper pouch back here, so I can put all of my little, mm-hmm. Keys and stuff like that in. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of handy. I mean, it just stays in my craft room. So.
And she's gonna put. We were talking about it earlier. We think we were talking about ways that she could add a closure to it,
put a
tie or something mm-hmm. like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I've also made. I had. I know we've talked about it before, but I had a pattern keeper.
My doggy ate it.
Her doggy ate it, so I made a replacement for it. And I think I'm going to be able to save the other one too.
Well, that's good.
So I've made a replacement for it. So here's my little, nothing too much to this. I might make one that has a pocket and stuff like that. I don't really need the pocket. So if I do make one with a pocket, it's more because I want to see if I can do it. No, yeah. I just want to see if I can do it, pull it off. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how.
So the other one you bought, the one you bought that my dog ate, had a closure on it. Are you going to
Had
put a closure on that one? Or your next one you're making?
Maybe
or do you think it's not necessary?
I don't even know. Because I think it probably is necessary. I'm just not really sure how I want to go about making that closure.
Well, and I had an idea that, because I write all over my patterns, I don't know if I have a pattern with me, but I put, I don't think I brought either of my patterns with me, but I put X marks, check marks, tally marks.
I put tally marks on mine.
Yeah,
big
on
time.
everything, all my patterns. And I was saying how if you got like a wet erase marker, you could draw on the vinyl, or write on the vinyl and then just wipe it off. That way you wouldn't have to. I mean, I don't know if you would need your pattern again, but
I typically use my patterns a couple of times.
Well, for instance, these mitts that I'm doing, I'm going to need the pattern again to make the other mitt, but I wrote all over that. So I'm going to have to print another one to do all of my markings, and I used a highlighter and stuff on stuff because you only, you increase only on certain, every third round. So I highlighted the round where I was going to have to increase, which would be the same on this mitt. The increase rounds would be the same, but then I would have to figure out another way to mark my place, where I was at and stuff like that. So I'll just end up printing another pattern.
Yeah.
For that.
So we'll see, I'm going to give that a try and see how that works for me. Definitely have to be a wet erase, not a dry erase, just because dry erase is so easy. Because I do dry erase. I've done dry erase on other things, and it just comes off of those.
Well, and it's easy. I feel like I would just, my hand would just wipe across it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, also all of my yarning. So I bought in Aquisitions, a bunch of yarn for me to dye. I had some worsted. I had some fingering. The worsted I don't have over here. That's not true. The worsted, I do have a couple skeins, and then I broke some other skeins down. There again, I'm just playing right now, learning different techniques, doing some speckling, and everything like that. So I'm trying to figure out what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what colors I like, etc. These two I did in a crock pot. I didn't do the crock pot method probably very well. And I've also discovered, and I'll talk about it a little bit more with the skein that I just put down, I wasn't using my citric acid appropriately, nor at the correct strengths, or amounts, I should say. The strength was probably fine, the amount not so much. But as you can see on this guy, this was in the same pot. This one looks more primary in color. This one looks more neon, or
this one you have hot pink here, and I don't really see hot pink here.
There's more of the reds and stuff. So I think it has to do with I didn't have enough citric acid in it, and things were bleeding more than they would otherwise. So we'll just, again, I'm just playing. So that was kind of, I'm going to call it a fail. It's not really a fail because it's totally usable, and I will probably use it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not going to use this because it's really cute.
No, I'll totally use it, but it's not, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. So it's a fail in the fact that I learned something from it. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Completely usable. I will absolutely use it. Everything that died, I will find something to use it for, because I don't think anything is an absolute, unusable. If it is, I'll just dye it black. But as you can see on this guy was all supposed to be one color, which was this color down here. There again, I wasn't using enough citric acid, and so my color wasn't seeping into the yarn consistently.
I really like the way this turned out, though.
Yeah, I mean, again,
I think it's really
not
pretty.
A failure. It just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to.
I think it would look cute in that Two Sweets pattern that I did for that pink yarn.
Well, and I told you can have it.
I think it would look really cute in something like that, because I think the different shades of blue would really come out.
Well, and there, I tried to do some speckling on this one. It didn't really turn out throughout because there's some yellow in here, some blue-green in here, and again, not enough citric acid, so it wasn't really doing what it was supposed to. So I've got a couple of skeins of this guy too, and I've learned a lot. And obviously with my skeins that I showed you for the bauble, once I figured out my citric acid problem, much better. Much better. I got the results I was wanting to. So already I am starting to, I don't know that worked the way I wanted to. Already I'm starting to make some progress. And
which dye method did you prefer? Since you did the crock pot and you did the
hot water over into pans, and then I've also done it on stovetop. Stovetop is my favorite by far.
And why is that?
I feel like I have more control over stovetop and my timing over stovetop. I just like overall the way things turn out in it.
Yeah.
This is not it's not scanning up the way I want it to.
It's pretty though. Yeah. I like it.
So anyway, so I think that is all that we've got for you guys today. So I really appreciate you guys stopping in this week and for sticking with us, even though we weren't able to stay on our schedule like we had hoped. Thank you for coming back. Again, the next episode will be in 3 weeks from Dallas Fiber Fest.
Yes.
And I am so excited that we are going.
I already told my husband, because our husbands are going with us and they're just going to hang out and do other stuff while we're doing that. And then at night we'll all be together. But, I already told my husband, I was like, I'm going to spend some money.
It's going to be a haul.
I'm just saying right now. And he's totally fine with it. He's like, no, that's great. That's super fun. I was like, no, I'm really going to spend some money. I'm telling you now so I don't have to justify it later while I'm there.
I've been stalking the vendor page.
I'm going to spend some money. Because I'm at least buying the stuff for that Second Avenue shawl.
Yeah.
And probably, that rose cardigan that Andrea Mowry just released calls for sport weight. And I still have that, those 3 skeins of squid ink.
Yeah.
That I haven't done anything with yet. And it calls for 3 colors. So that could be one of my colorways.
I do that one too, I've decided.
So,
did you see you work that one left to right?
Yes, and I looked and it calls for every technique. It really does. It's got everything in it. So it will probably be a challenge, but it's so pretty. Yeah. It's so pretty. Yeah. So I'm thinking that if I want to do that, I might bring a skein of my squid ink.
I think you should.
To match up with a couple other colorways and sport and do that.
I think anything that we're wanting to match, we should probably bring a skein.
Yeah, because I'm going to bring this too.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably bring squid ink. So I know I'm at least going to buy that.
Yeah.
And that's just yarn, because there's going to be other stuff too. There's going to be needle vendors and roving and
I can't wait to spend tomorrow, you guys.
I don't think I'll buy any bags since I know how to make bags now.
Yeah.
Unless it's just something very
that you really
special.
Want. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited.
Pins. I am so excited. There are going to be some enamel pins there. Sister better get some.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm so excited about
I'm really
that.
excited too. So fun stuff.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes,
again, follow us on Instagram, Ravelry, and Twitter.
Yes.
That other one that I always seem to forget one of them.
And if you want to join in our knit along, our sock knit along, that is going to be at least through March, maybe
a little bit longer.
Please do that as well.
Yes, we've got a chatter page on our forum. So we do have a page on Ravelry. So go to our Ravelry page and check out our, I think I called it Sock Cowl chatter.
And then FOs we also have.
Yep. So if you finish some, you can mark them in FOs, and the FO page is strictly for those who are finished and are entered. Basically, that enters you in to be in the running for our, as I said earlier, price support.
Yes.
Or, as you have questions, put them in the chatter, and we're happy to see if we can help you, or if anybody else might be able to help as well. But I'd love to see your half objects, your currently working ons, your yarn, anything. Whatever you want to post.
Yes.
Whatever you want to post. Within reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't post randos.
No.
So.
But thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yes.
And love from all of us.
Bye. Happy knitting.
Happy knitting.